It's time for a little wrap up of all the books I read in February. I know I'm a little late, I was a little busy, but happens. But here I am, so let's talk about the 5 books that I read in the month of February. So first I read Hollow by Selena Myers. And yeah, starting off the month real strong with a book that I did not enjoy. I think that the premise was cool and it had a lot of potential, but the story was really rushed and the writing, it was terrible. Hollow follows a woman named Mia who works in a bookstore and lives in a small town. She also has experience with the paranormal as she was able to see dead people and communicate with them, but this is like just vaguely mentioned and also just widely accepted by the people who know her and then tossed on the back burner because her gift dried up and then kind of is brought back later on because all of a sudden it's important. I don't know. She soon then dies in a tragic car crash and awakens as a vampire. She is forced to leave her family behind and must join a new family. The vampires that turned her live separately as 2 families, but they travel together and communicate with each other, but they like live separately. She basically has a day to spend with each family and then she has to choose which one she wants to live with forever. From then on, we kind of get an info dump on each member in the family, like of their past and how they became a vampire. And during this time, we also learn that there's a rogue vampire that's been turning people and using their blood because fresh vampire blood is special. The pacing of this was all over the place and the world building was not really that fleshed out. Like the character origin stories, those did not feel like overly necessary and didn't add much to the actual story. Like I feel like maybe a few of them could have been important, at least to see how they like interact with one another, but we were just kind of like dumped on who everyone is and yeah. And especially because there were so many and it like really felt like it was delivered in almost bullet point style. And then following that, we don't really get any interactions from all these extra characters with Mia. So hearing all their backstories felt really unnecessary. And the prologue had me iffy too. I feel like I was more interested in it, but it felt really rushed and also really long for a prologue. And the ending helped set the scene for what's to come, but I think it also would have been okay without it. And the plot twist at the end was not a plot twist. The villains were comically bad and the ending felt like really clumsy, very rushed. And the book overall had way too many subplots, especially like jam-packed in like 300 pages. And yeah, so for how short it was, nothing was able to get fleshed out properly. And I did feel like it was pretty heavily inspired by Twilight, and I think Twilight was way better. So next up we have The Everlasting by Alex E. Harrow. I had some mixed feelings about this one at first, but I did kind of expect it to go a little bit differently. But after sitting on it for a bit, I started to like it more. I would say that this is a perfect book for those who enjoyed Our Infinite Fates, but wanted like a little more, maybe even Heavenly Bodies, and This Is How You Lose the Time More. Una Everlasting is a knight whose story is being told throughout the centuries in books for her heroism in sacrificing herself to save Dominium. And Owen, who is a scholar who has been obsessed with Una's legend for basically his entire life, ends up being the one to rewrite her story. He gets delivered her book in order to translate it, but when he opens it, he discovers that it is blank, and he is sent back in time to write it. Owen falls in love with Una while writing her story, and it almost always ends in her tragic death. Now, I say almost always because he constantly gets sent through time because her story needs to get rewritten to fit into the current political climate in the nation. Now, while the romance is probably the most beloved thing about this book, and it was good, and it did check a lot of boxes for true yearning, a slow burn, it still wasn't my favorite part of the book. Each time he gets sent back in time, it feels the same but different. He knows her, but he doesn't. They have fallen in love multiple times over, but they've become such a big part of each other's lives, but they don't remember. So now my favorite part of the book was more the political landscape rather than the main focus of the romance. Next we have The Book of Azrael by Amber V. Nicole. I know this book and the whole series is a god tier series for a lot of people, and maybe I just have to get a little further in the series because this is only book 1, and a lot of people were obsessed right off the bat, but unfortunately I wasn't. But I did still enjoy it, not as much as I thought I would, but definitely enough to continue the series. So this is an urban fantasy, which I haven't read a lot of urban fantasies, but it was a nice change. Our female main character, Diana, is ruthless, fiery, and I loved her snarky attitude. I also loved her relationship with her sister Gabby. Diana was created for chaos and destruction, and I enjoyed that we didn't get the full extent of who and what she was, and she kind of learned a little bit more about herself along the way. Liam, our male main character, is our traumatized hero. We see him in a really dark area in his life. Him and Diana are so broken in their own ways, but when they're forced to go on a journey together and start to slowly open up to each other, it's like the tension, the banter is just so good between them. You can really feel their relationship grow and it feels right. And Diana is a little bit mean to him at first and for a while, but it feels like she's fighting her innate nature as they were basically bred to hate one another. I like how the world is built without being dumped on us, and there are a lot of plot twists, and the secondary characters in this book are given good attention in detail as well, which I really liked. So I am looking forward to the rest of the series. Maybe it will turn God tier for me. We'll see. And next up we have The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wong. Where do I even start with this one? Like, when I tell you that this book will have such a hold on you, the characters will matter, the outcome of the story matters, your heart will be fully invested in it. Like, I mean it. We set the scene in a little village in the mountains, and there's a school where boys are trained to become like warriors. We have a magic system that kind of varies based on location, but here we control ice. The story is about the Matsuda family and the woman who married into it. We learn about her relationship with her husband, which is not a marriage out of love, her relationship with her children, where she originally saw them as warriors birthed for her husband to train, and never really saw them as an extension of herself as well. And I think that moment was really heavy when she came around to realizing that they're also part of her. We see how her father-in-law treats her and how it sends her into a deep depression, but the small community she creates with the women around her help bring her out of this hole. We see her son learn the truth about his government and see his world slowly shatter around him. There's so much about this book that makes it truly amazing. It was so full of raw emotion as we work through so many things with these characters. And then we have this crazy battle that leaves you scared for your favorite characters. It's also like almost 300 pages long. It was pretty intense, and it definitely describes a lot. You lost your right to my obedience when you stopped being a man, Misaki cut him off. If you want me to go back to the house, you'll have to fight me. I stood by too long while you disgraced yourself, but this is the last time you'll be weak in front of me. One of us is going to rest here with our son. Draw. That is all. And last but not least, we have Eternal Ruin by Taigas Gurma. This is the second book in the Immortal Dark trilogy, and while I did enjoy the first book, I feel like I was a little bit too critical of it at first, and reading this book made me appreciate book one even more. And like, I did like book one when I first read it, but yeah. And I did really enjoy this one too, like I devoured it. So if you haven't read book one, this is like, here the gist. We're in a secret society-esque type of university where we have houses. Each house has the family, and then the vampires, which we call genetics, living inside. The house also kind of has a magical power, which is neat, and Kiran is still working in this book towards trying to master her house because she hadn't quite mastered it in the first book, and so that she can remain there, not lose her house's middle position, and with the other founding houses against her and her sister's reappearance and it not going the way that she had hoped, she's extremely stressed out and trying everything she can do to win other houses' favor, protect herself, and get to the bottom of a lot of things. A lot of other things that are going on. Not gonna get too much into detail about those. Book 2 takes us more into learning about the rules of the houses and how politically driven each action is. There are so many things going on, and it really makes you struggle with who you can trust. Like, she had her best friend, and then her best friend turned her back on her, and always like servient. And at first I did not like Kidan at all, but she really grew on me as she's trying to navigate her new life, and she is a truly morally great character, and that's why she was kind of annoying to me at first and why I was struggling to like her. She acts in self-interest, but now I'm really interested in her self-interest and also her growth as a character as she begins to care more about others, but still manages to fuck up a lot of things. Like, she was originally fueled by revenge and rage, but now she needs to be more careful with her plotting. And now she has people in her life that she cares about and doesn't want to hurt them, even though sometimes it doesn't work out that way. I'm really excited to finish this. There's one more book coming out, not sure when, but it's really good. So, and the ending on this. So those are the 5 books that I read in February. Started off not so great, but ended off really strong. And I definitely have some new favorites. If you've read any of those books, let me know what your thoughts are. Thanks for watching.